Welcome to Sundays in the Studios with the Art Gallery of Windsor. My name is Dawn Richardson, and today I'm going to show you how to make an ecosphere. For this project, you'll need a glass container with an airtight lid, some Mod Podge, an empty water bottle, some paper towel, a Ziploc bag, a garden shovel or a small cup, and a spoon that you're willing to part with. Optional is water conditioner and aquatic plant fertilizer, both of which you can find at your local fish store or pet store. When going out into nature to find the components for this, you're going to want to go to like a lake or a pond or otherwise a waterfront area. While you're there, you're going to want to dig up some dirt and take that with you. You're going to want to take quite a bit of the water right from the lake, and you're going to want to also take some rocks and some, if you see some wild plants like hornwort or pennywort, you can take some of those as well with the root. Now, to be safe, you probably want to wear some gloves, or just make sure that you wash your hands both before and after. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, I wasn't able to get out to the local pet store and buy some pennywort or some hornwort, which you can also find normally in nature. However, because this is also January, it's kind of all dead. I found a little tiny stalk of it when I was out looking, but normally you'd go to a pet store and just pick some up. So you might see that on the list of things that you'll need for this project, but it is kind of optional, and for myself, I didn't get to include it. The first thing I'm going to do is take my jar, which, by the way, I got from IKEA for about $2. So the only bad thing about this jar from IKEA is that it has a cork top, which, of course, cork can be perforated easily. And so to avoid any sort of mold or anything gross like that growing in the cork, I'm going to seal it off with some Mod Podge. While the cork stopper is drying, I'm going to start putting the components into the jar. So the first thing to do is to put in some of the water conditioner and some of the water, the aquarium plant fertilizer, just a little bit. It doesn't need to be a whole lot, just a few drops, because this is a very small little container. Now we can start putting the water from the waterfront into the jar. I made a little makeshift funnel here so that I didn't get water all over the place, though it didn't really work all that well, as you can see. So honestly, your best option is probably just to pour it in with an actual funnel or with just steady hands. You can use the spoon or any other little shovel that you might have to shovel some of the dirt and detritus from the waterfront into the jar. And you know, there's a lot of different stuff here. I found actually a worm in here, a little aquatic worm, I believe. And so you want to be kind of careful, make sure you keep everything intact, because this is the ecosystem and we're just taking a little piece of it. Two other things to note when putting your sediment and other components into the jar is, if you have rocks, don't just throw them in there because you might break the jar because it's glass. As you can see, I'm saving the rocks for last, and the reason for that is that if I drop the rocks in there before putting all of the dirt and other sediment in there first, then when I do put the these leaves that I have or the dirt on top, they're just going to cover up the rocks, and a lot of the rocks have some algae on it, which I want to grow over time, because that will be the what the little creatures will eat later on. So I'm going to first put in the detritus and then put the rocks on top. Now that we have all the sediment components in, I can put in our rocks. So I chose these rocks because, like I kind of mentioned before, they have a lot of algae on them, and algae will serve both to produce oxygen in the water as well as be a source of food for any little creatures that are in there that might eat it. Now that all the water and the sticks and the stones are in the jar, along with all the detritus, we're going to go ahead and take the cork and trap that all in there. Now, what is an ecosphere? Well, the term comes from two separate words. Eco, as in ecosystem, and sphere, as in a contained circular object. It doesn't have to be circular, of course. In my case here, it's just a jar that has an airtight lid. The reason we want the ecosphere to be airtight is so that we don't lose any of the water due to evaporation. And as well, the ecosystem should be fun because it will make its own oxygen with the plant matter that's in there. And if we keep the water airtight and watertight, then it'll just keep going and continuously feed itself. Looking into the ecosphere, we can see all the little plankton and other little beings that we normally wouldn't be able to see because they're trapped under the ice or in the water and are just generally too small to see. So thank you again for stopping by to Sundays in the Studios with the Art Gallery of Windsor. My name is, again, Sarah Richardson. You have a great rest of your weekend.